Good afternoon. Move your colors. Cover. Almighty and everlasting God, whose greatness has been witnessed throughout the history of humanity, we stand in awe of your power and might. In humble adoration, we praise your holy name. We are gathered now in this place, a place we would set aside to honor Sgt Michael Beckerman, who in giving of himself endured separation from family and friends, gave of his time and skills, and placed freedom for others over his own safety. He gave his all, even his very life, to the call of service. To this brave individual, we owe much gratitude. Today, in Sgt Beckerman's honor, we now dedicate this memorial, crafted by human hands, as a tribute to him who answered the call to duty as a proud member of our armed forces. No longer may we fail to give thanks to those whose actions are too often left unappreciated. May this place, this memorial, be a reminder of the sacrifices that have been made and will be made again in our feeble attempt to make this world a better place. May we all be enriched by this soldier sacrificed. In Jesus' name, amen.
Fallert. Ready. Present. Hold. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Detail. Please! A word, forward!
Please be seated. Welcome this afternoon, and thank you for joining us today to celebrate Sgt. Michael Beckerman. He gave his life fighting for us. My name is Mark Shelton, and I am the Southeast District Engineer for MoDOT. And while I'm thrilled to be a part of this celebration, really MoDOT has very little to do. There's a variety of highway naming and different things programs that the legislators have initiated. This is one that I always personally attend. It's really the family and friends and the General Assembly who are the driving force behind all of our memorial signing programs. And I'm especially proud to be taking part of the Heroes Way program. And I understand that Michael's mother, Lisa McGregor, and his father, Sgt Beckerman, were the driving forces behind this particular assignment. And I'd like for them to stand along with Brianna, Sgt Beckerman's daughter, and Natalie, Brianna's wife. Be ready. Brianna's mother. Be ready. designated for Missouri residents who are in the armed forces and who lost their lives in action on or before September 11, 2011, in either Afghanistan or Iraq. In 2011, Representative Linda Black sponsored legislation which expanded the original program to include state-numbered highways as well. And that legislation was signed into law by Governor J. Nixon and became effective August 28, 2011. And I think this is a tremendous and a special way to honor those who have given the ultimate sacrifice for our country. And I'm truly humbled each and every time that I hear the stories about these brave men and women who gave their lives defending our freedom. And Sgt Beckerman's story is certainly no exception. Sgt Beckerman will be the first soldier honored in St. Genevieve, Missouri, with the naming of the interchange at exit 143, the Sergeant Michael J. Beckerman interchange. We've got a few folks here that would like to say a few words, and I'd like to introduce them. And when I introduce you, if you would please come up and say a few words. And first on the list is representing the Honorable United States Senator Claire McCaskill, Christy Mercer.
On behalf of Claire, I would like to say thank you for the invitation to be part of this dedication ceremony. She wishes she could be here in person, and she sends all of her best to Sergeant Michael Beckerman's family and friends and to the local community. It's important for us as a nation to take time to thank and pay proper respects to heroes like Sgt Beckerman who have sacrificed so much, even their lives, to protect our freedoms. Today's dedication will remind all who drive this stretch of highway and exit what his friends and family already know, that Sgt Beckerman was a true patriot, willing to fight and die for the country he loved so much. Claire would like to thank Sgt Beckerman's family for allowing the state of Missouri to honor their loved one in this way. Their willingness to participate in the Heroes Way program means that the millions who travel here will learn the high example Michael has set in honor, patriotism, and sacrifice. The dedication of this road will help us to keep our promise to never forget what he did and his fellow men and women in uniform have done for our sakes. God bless you.
Thank you, Christy. Our next speaker is here representing the Honorable United States Representative Russ Carnahan, Ms. Waltz.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Congressman Carnahan, I want to again extend his sympathies to the entire Beckerman family and to all of Sgt Beckerman's friends who are also here today. The purpose of the sign that we're here to dedicate is twofold. The first purpose is to remind everyone who will pass that sign that in defense of our country, all give some, and some, like Sgt Beckerman, give all. And we will always remember his sacrifice. The second purpose is for Brianna. In the future, she can take her friends or maybe her children to that sign, and she can point to it and she can say, "That's my dad. He's an American hero." And we're all proud to be here today, and we want to thank MoDOT for the respectful and honorable way they're implementing this program for our fallen heroes. Thank you all very much for this opportunity to speak, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Kathy. Our next speaker from the Missouri State Senate, District 3, is the Honorable Senator Kevin Engler.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is supposed to be a celebration. Those of us that stood on the roadside, the funeral, that was a sad time. For those of you that we were able to honor at the high school last year, that was a sad time. This is a celebration. Are you happy to be here? Yeah. Appreciate the Patriot Guard coming out today, and I appreciate the family. And I appreciate them, the sign, no dunking or hanging the rims. They've seen me play, obviously, so they wanted to make us feel welcome. I've had the opportunity to go around the state and my districts and 7 counties. And unfortunately, we've had injuries. We're building a house for a young man in the northern part of this county. We've had dedication memorials in several places. It's never good to have to do those things. But it's important that we do, because people remember in different ways. I sponsored a bill a few years ago and brought out the awareness that the bill allowed the governor to authorize the flag to be flown at half-staff one day for someone that had died in the line of duty. And people had different reactions. How should we remember these heroes? And I'm not going to go through a whole spiel like I do in schools, talking about the heroes among us. But the question is, what do we do? Because some people will say, well, you know, maybe we should just do it in the counties. Because we've got a lot of flags that have to be taken down the flag staff, and maybe we should just do it in the counties that they were from. And there are those that insisted that it be done all over the state. And I think to this day, when you see the flag flying at half-staff now, I hope that some of you realize that someone has given their life to defend this country that lived in Missouri and was from Missouri. They gave the ultimate sacrifice. And that has involved, when we talk about, well, how should we honor these people on an ongoing basis? And this was resolved, is to have some markers around saying this person is not forgotten, will never be forgotten, and cannot be forgotten, because the sacrifice that they made for this country will go on forever. They are eternal. They don't end with the one day the flag is flown at half-staff. They don't end with the funeral. They don't end with the procession. They never end, because we will always remember the sacrifice of the people like Sgt Beckerman. I'm going to go by that highway. We're going to get these up. But we're going to go by, and most of you that live in this area, time after time and after time. But I hope, and I challenge you not to make it like some billboard that once you go by it 4 or 5 times, you forget the significance. Every time you go by that nameplate in remembrance, say a prayer. Say a prayer for those that have given all for us. They won't be coming home to be with their families. We have to do what we can to honor those that have served and given the ultimate sacrifice. I thank you for the opportunity of speaking today, and I thank you for the opportunity of serving you this past 8 years, and I ask that God continue to bless this great country, this state, and this county of St. Genevieve. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Our next speaker from the 104th District of the Missouri House of Representatives is the Honorable Joe Fallert.
First, I'd like to thank all the veterans that are here today, first of all, for their service. Second, we're here to recognize Sgt Beckerman, and I know we've seen the family on numerous occasions, and it's always very humbling to me to be able to stand up here and speak to you, having not served. Because of what you've done, I have the opportunity to do what I get to do, and that's to help you do what I can for everybody. I noticed after all the events we've been to together, you know, that the tears are still there. They'll probably never go away, but neither will our respect for the service that Sgt Beckerman gave to our country, the opportunities he gives us to live in this nation as free citizens in the greatest country in the world. And with that, I'll be very brief. Thank you all for coming. And I again thank the veterans and the family of Sgt Beckerman for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Our next speaker is Mr. Thomas W. Mundle. He's the junior, Mr. Thomas W. Mundle, Jr. He's the Vice Commander of the Missouri Veterans of Foreign Wars and Vice President, Missouri Gateway Chapter, 101st Airborne Division Association.
First, I'd like to recognize First Sergeant and the men that served with Sgt Beckerman, as they are all with the 101st Airborne Division. Would you please stand? Strength and enduring spirit of a warrior lives for eternity. Sergeant Michael J. Beckerman, a true warrior, served gallantly with the 2nd Brigade Support Troop Battalion, 2nd Brigade Combat Special Combat Team, 101st Airborne Division Air Assault. We know that Michael was an outstanding soldier from his impressive record, the commendations, and the medals earned during the years of service with the 101st Airborne Division. In combat, everything speeds up. On patrol, the senses are heightened, and sudden events are anticipated, if not fully expected. Life and mortality walk side by side. Michael and his comrades accepted that risk as combatants are trained to do. He now joins the legions of Screaming Eagles, members of the 101st Airborne Division that live in our memories. From D-Day 1944 to Bastogne, Vietnam, to Iraq, and the Kandahar Province in Afghanistan, he has joined the immortal band of brothers. His dedication, loyalty, and integrity to his country were always on his mind, as was his love and compassion for his family and his daughter, Brianna, his mom and dad, and all of the members of his extended family. Each of his family's members' grief will be shared by countless numbers of comrades in arms that shared his life in harm's way. No words provide comfort for these times, but we must remember that Michael was doing exactly what he felt was the right thing to do. He was serving his country proudly and confidently. I am sure that each of you knows that Michael, being the man that he is, would understand the grief, but yet would not want us to let ourselves fall apart and be unable to function. He loved that smile that he shares so much, that he saw in his family and daughter's faces so many times. Happiness in their lives meant so much to him. He would want them to carry on with his memory and focus on the future, to be as happy as possible and develop a future that he would be proud of. We know Michael's family and daughter Brianna love him dearly, and he loved them dearly. It is fitting and proper that we remember him in every way possible. Now a Missouri highway sign where millions of people will see and remember his name will know that freedom is not free. Those that make the ultimate sacrifice assure those of us living that each of us will continue to breathe the precious air of freedom. The leaders of the 101st Airborne Division and the Missouri Gateway Chapter of the 101st Association have asked me to present a unique and lasting symbol of their respect for his sacrifice that has honored and protected so many with a hand-rendered keepsake. The military also honors its fallen heroes by trumpeting taps an honorable and respectful melody that dates back to the Civil War. Let us remember favorite lyrics to Taps as we honor Sergeant Michael J. Beckerman anew. Day is done, gone the sun, from the lake, from the hill, from the sky. All is well, safely rest, God is nigh. The Becker family and little Brianna, please accept this symbol of our deep respect for your loss. We love the members of the 101st Airborne Division and its association, love the family and you, Brianna. We, the living, will stand beside you, looking forward to the day that each of us will meet your Michael and your daddy once again. Remember, he is only a thought and a whisper away.
So I'd like to share some memories, and being a retired English teacher, I typed up like 12 pages. So I might just skip through that a little bit. But before I share some memories, I would like to thank the Beckerman and Hayes family for asking me to be at the event. Lisa first asked me to be, she didn't tell me I had to speak. So it's quite an honor for me to be here. I would also like to thank the Missouri Department of Transportation and Harold's Way for finding a way to honor our veterans at home in their local communities where they served as sons, husbands, fathers, neighbors, and friends. And as far as the interchange that's going to be named in honor of Michael, I live in the Ozora area, so I pass there several times a day, so that will be a constant reminder for me of Michael. As far as memories go, I actually taught Lisa my first year of teaching at Bloomsdale Elementary School. I retired from the St. Genevieve School District. Lisa was in my first class along with 37 other students. Started out my first year of teaching with 38 students in 6th grade. I remember her being very, very bright and very, very talkative. She also loved the boys, and she excelled in her schoolwork, but I did catch her writing notes to the boys in her spare time. She always liked to write to them. She could be very girly, but she was also very athletic. One moment she would be in a group of girls giggling, watching the boys, trying to impress the boys. The next moment she would be playing football or baseball with the boys. So those are some things I remember about Lisa. One of my fondest memories of Lisa, and a couple of her classmates who are also here. When I first started teaching, for one part of my master's, my graduate project, we had to do a presentation at Southeast Missouri State University, Cape Girardeau. So I asked Lisa and Tracy's here, Tracy Starr, and Lisa Reed and Brad Hollerbach to go to Cape with me. Which now if I would ask them to go to Cape with me, we'd have tons of paperwork and all these permission forms and things like that. But we just got her car and went to Cape. And I remember Lisa playing the part of Laura Engler's Fallert. And that's back when the Little House books were very, very popular. And they did a nice presentation down at SEMO. And then we went out to eat. And then I took all of them back home to Bloomsdale. Like I said, we got home really, really late. But it was a fun night for all of us. Do you remember that, Lisa? Tracy? Teresa. Where's the other Lisa? Lisa back there? That was lots of fun. But I'm thankful for good memories, and that was definitely one of them. I'm sure that they remember that. I also enjoyed teaching Lisa's two sisters. Angie was here, and Barb. I don't know if Barb is here or not. Hello, Barb. Hi, Barb. And then a few years later, I didn't know what I was in store for, but a few years later, I transferred with the 6th grade to St. Genevieve Middle School. And it was there that I taught Michael. And how would I describe Michael as a 6th grade student? He was very, very, very high energy. He was very, very, very talkative. He wanted to know what was going on everywhere. He wanted to please, but not necessarily in schoolwork. I taught him in English, and it was like, well, you know, we had to do a little bit of prodding to get him to do his English homework. But he liked helping in the classroom. A lot of times he'd stay after class and ask if he could help in any way. He was always out in the hallway during passing time, talking to other students, like I said, trying to find out what was going on. He loved opening and closing his locker. Most of the students in middle school would go to the locker maybe once or twice a day, not Michael. He would go to his locker 6, 7, 8, 9 times a day. He would go after each class. He was very friendly and well-liked by his classmates, and he was usually in a good mood. And Michael and I made an instant connection once we realized that I was his mother's teacher and that she was in my first class. He loved hearing stories about his mother, how she acted in 6th grade, and he couldn't wait to get home and ask her about them. I also remember Michael wrestling in high school. He invited me to some of his matches. And Michael had so much energy, and I knew that if he was able to channel it in a positive direction, he could achieve a lot. I did not realize that his dream and destiny and passion would be to serve in the military. And I have a lot of respect for the military. I had several family members who served in different campaigns. And so I started the Veterans Day program and tribute at St. Genevieve School District. I think it's of utmost importance that our students realize that freedom is not free. It comes with great sacrifice. I wanted them to understand and appreciate the men and women who serve our country in the armed forces. This has been a lifelong goal for me. And Lisa was gracious enough last year to come to the middle school, high school program to speak to the students plus the faculty and staff. I know this was very difficult for her, but her words left a lasting impression on everyone. I know that Michael had found his place where he could achieve and excel. The lessons learned from his life and sacrifices cannot be measured. And Lisa also asked me to mention how much the family appreciated the students at St. Genevieve School and all the money they raised to help make the sign possible, because they really worked hard and diligently to make it possible. And Michael's life and sudden passing makes me think of a poem called The Dash by Linda Ellis. And I'd like to read this, because it's going to apply to our lives as well as Michael's. The Dash. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of his friend. He referred to the dates on his tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of his birth and spoke of the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that he spent alive on earth. And now only those that loved him know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel, and be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? So we only have one shot at life. It's not a dress rehearsal. We should take risks, if for no other reason because we can. Be present, be kind, live with intention, do things that make us feel alive, spend time with family and friends, and make a difference. I believe that Michael lived life to the fullest and did make a difference in his dash. Once he found his niche in life, he filled his dash with energy, excitement, passion, dreams, goals, joys, and successes. Michael paid the ultimate price doing something he loved and enjoyed. He will always be a hero in my heart. I will also remember him as a blonde-haired boy full of energy, bouncing into my 6th grade classroom every day. My definition of a hero is someone who does something without thinking of himself, without thinking of rewards. Someone who's willing to put himself at risk for the sake of someone else. A hero to me is not Superman or Spider-Man or Batman, but the friend who jumps at the opportunity to help another person without question, without token of appreciation, but just to do it because it's the right thing to do. And I will close with a quote from Joseph Campbell. A hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself. Thank you, and God bless. I think Lisa wants to come up and read something. She wanted me to read it for her, but I told her I couldn't read or write. What? No, I didn't.
Y'all have heard my stuff so many times before, but a lot of you said what I wanted to make sure you said. It's not a funeral, it's a remembrance. And although I might cry, I can go on and on. I can talk about grief, I can talk about heroes, I can talk about so many things. My family's rolling their eyes because they've heard it all before. But there are a couple of things that y'all got to listen to anyway, just because I'm the mom. When I was thinking about what I would say if I could pick one thing out of 1,000, I thought about how that Michael socially stated that his heroes were those who paid the ultimate price for you and I. And I think that's pretty big, you know, and I'm sure when he said that, he wasn't counting on being one of them. But I also thought about, there's a commercial on TV, the USAA commercial, and some of you know what that is, and some of you don't, but it's a military financial institution. And they say that we owe it to them to live well. And I do think that we owe it to them to live well. Michael had a lot of things left to do, y'all. He had so many plans, and he wanted to try everything. And he did try a lot. All that being said, I want to take the time to make sure that not only is Michael remembered, but again, all the veterans who are serving now, all of those who are with him, all of the ones that, like Maggie told the Korean vet, that fought before to make it safer for them. I looked it up on the computer, and when I saw the numbers, and they're not just numbers, they each have a name. I want my son's name remembered. When I saw these numbers, I couldn't help but have to share these with y'all. The Revolutionary War, total recorded deaths, and they will tell you that they're not accurate, but they come from the highest accuracy that we can get. 4,435, 6,188 wounded in action. The War of 1812, 2,260 deaths, 4,505 wounded in action. Mexican War, total 13,283, 4,152 wounded in action. The Civil War, and this number is way off, and they acknowledge it on the stats. 497,332 killed. Some died in Union prisons, not actually in combat, from illnesses or diseases. That's a big number, y'all, a big number. 281,881 wounded in action. World War I, 53,400, excuse me, my bad. World War I, 116,516, can't talk, 116,516 killed, 204,002 wounded in action. World War II, 405,399 killed. 671,846 wounded in action. Korea, 36,574. Deaths, 103,284 killed, wounded in action. Vietnam, 58,209 killed, 153,303 wounded in action. Persian Gulf, 382 deaths, 467 wounded in action. Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, and Operation New Dawn, 6,510 killed in action, 202,171 wounded in action. That's a lot. That's a lot of families. That's a lot of fight for you and me. That's a lot of freedom, y'all. They all need to be remembered. I feel so privileged and so thankful. Michael is one of these members, but he has a name. And imagine all these mothers and all these families who prayed that their child, their loved one, was never forgotten. And we aren't going to forget. We are not going to forget. So the last thing I'm going to say, because I'm not going to cry, is in the rising and in the going down, in the rising sun and in its going down, we will remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of the winter, we will remember them. In the opening of the buds and in the warmth of summer, we will remember them. In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now part of us as we remember them. Thank you all. Thank you all so much for remembering all of them.
Sgt Beckerman will be up. They'll be completed before the end of the day today. At this time, I would like for the family and friends of Sgt Beckerman, if you would, come forward and unveil the sign.
You're ready, because she is. Do we go down or up? Down or up? Oh. Pull it, B. Give it a big yes.
We'll now have our closing prayer and then the retirement of the colors. And then after that is over, we'd like to invite the family who'd like to come forward. We'll get some pictures, get some photographs.
Now, as we go our separate ways, may we, through this memorial, not forget the name of Sgt Beckerman, his and his family's sacrifice. And may the great ruler of all high places, God of many names, touch you with a wind that keeps you strong for all the days to come. May the Lord bless and keep you. May He he cause his spirit to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May he lift up his smile on us and give us peace. Please be drive carefully on your passage.
Detail.